my name's Taylor.
And I'm Sarahi.
And welcome to our baking show.
Cookies, just roll with it.
To make these delicious sugar cookies, you will need a large bowl, a medium-sized bowl, a spatula, a mixing spoon, an ice cream scooper, a hand mixer and its beaters, a rolling pin, a teaspoon measuring utensil, measuring cups. The ingredients you will need is baking powder, salt, vanilla extract, sugar, flour, 3 eggs, and 2 sticks of butter. And finally, you will be adding a half a teaspoon of salt to your dry ingredients. Mix evenly until your flour, baking soda, and salt is well incorporated.
Okay, so the next step is you're going to take 2 sticks of butter. You're going to soften them. If you just took them out of the refrigerator, you can put them in the microwave for a couple seconds to let them soften. And so just unwrap it. You can just take a butter knife to scrape it off so you won't get like butter all over your hands. So there goes one stick. Take your other one, you unwrap it. Same thing that we did with the other one. Just kind of take your butter knife. There you go. Both sticks are in there. So once your butter and your sugar is all evenly incorporated and mixed together, you're gonna add 3 eggs. So what I like to do, I like to add 2 eggs at one time and then mix. So just tap it. Just 1 egg. Another one. Make sure not to get any shell. Then you're gonna go in again with your hand mixer. Mix until they're all incorporated.
So after you have combined the eggs, the butter, and the sugar, you're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. If you want to make your cookies taste extra vanilla-y, add in 1/2 teaspoon.
So now it's time to incorporate your dry ingredients with your wet ingredients. So what I like to do, I like to add about like a half of your dry ingredients into your wet. Just kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be like precise or anything. We just don't want to add everything at one time because we don't want flour going everywhere. So okay, that's about half. And then you're gonna take your beater or your hand mixer and you're gonna put it in there and then start it off on the lowest speed because again, we don't want flour going everywhere. And once you see it start clumping up like this, you can turn up the beater on a higher setting. So once everything is evenly incorporated like this, I'm just gonna add the other half of the mixture, just like I did the first time. And then once again, you're gonna start it on a low setting. And gradually start putting a higher speed.
After you are done hand mixing, I like to take a spatula and scrape off all the edges because you are going to have to put it in the fridge for at least a half hour. The fridge makes the dough nice and sticky, and you can use less flour when cutting out the cookies, and it makes a cleaner surface. So just combine it well like this together and make it into a little ball. Just make sure all the edges are combined, and the dough will be less sticky when you put it in the fridge. Now that your dough is all done and ready to be put in the fridge and your press and seal is pressed down nice and tight, put it in the fridge. Once you take your dough out of the fridge, I recommend letting it sit for about 15 minutes to let it warm up, because when it comes out, it will be really cold and hard to scoop out and roll out. And then once you scoop it out with your ice cream scooper, I like to mash it up with my hands just to warm it up and make it more malleable and easier. And then I recommend using a cutting board so you don't ruin your countertop. And just take some flour like this, a little pinch, sprinkle it on your cutting board and on your rolling pin. Put the dough on top of the cutting board and roll out. And today we're making pumpkin cookies, so I have my pumpkin cookie cutter. And just about that, you can see from the edges how thick you want it. Take your cutter, push it down like that, and just keep doing it until you run out of dough surface.
Okay, so for your icing, you're going to start off with 4 cups of powdered sugar.
So next, you will be adding meringue powder into your powdered sugar. This is an egg white substitute, and you only can find this at your local craft stores, not Walmart. So you need to put 3 tablespoons of this meringue powder into your bowl.
Okay, and then you're going to add 5 tablespoons of water.
So now that once you've added the water and you've stirred it, depending on what consistency you want, it's really important to be careful about how much water you add in. Since we're making pumpkin cookies, the stem is going to be green, and we want a thicker consistency for the stem. since we're not going to be flooding the entire cookie. And we want a really nice, precise design. So I recommend getting little plastic cups. You don't want to ruin your nice dishes in case the food coloring stains. So let me get a spoon. Now that you have the spoon, this consistency, as you can see, it doesn't drip off the beaters. And that's just eyeballing how much water I've put in there. I've probably put about 7 tablespoons of water in it already. And by the end of this video, there will probably be 20 tablespoons of water in this mixture. So depending on how many cookies you are decorating, just scoop that much icing out. So now that you've scooped your green icing into this cup, I recommend using a damp paper towel. I'm going to fold it in half like this, and then just set it over my icing, press it down like this, and then just set it aside till you're ready to use it. So now that you have the right consistency, put the icing in a cup, and we're using orange food coloring. So just dump the food coloring into the icing. And then take a spoon that you don't really care about because it will get like tinted, and just stir it into the icing. And depending on what shade of orange you want, put less or more food coloring. Okay, so as you can see, we've already started, but to ice and flood the cookie, what you're gonna wanna do is squeeze lightly for the icing to come out and drag it around the outline of the cookie, like so. And then this is called flooding, where you flood it just like this all the way around until you meet the center. And then as you can see, there's some little places I missed, so then just squeeze a little bit more icing out and then connect it like so until it is all covered.